Hey, it's the RV Dummy back with you, and today's video, I am going to change your life. I promise. So stick with me. Hey there, how are you? Dr. Dave, the RV Dummy, back with you. This is a bit of a continuation from my last video that I was on Echo Lake State Park, and I was sharing with you how you should be able to do anything in life that you want to do. And now's the time to do it. Don't delay. We only have one life to live, and you should be doing exactly what you want to do. And I've got so many great responses from that video, and it's not a prerequisite. You did not have to watch that one to get everything you can out of this one. I'm going to get started today. I'm going to share with you some of my story that I've never shared with anybody before, but I think it's going to inspire you and show you that if you're living a life now kind of by default and you're not really sure if it's a life you want to live, how you can change it and how you can change it right now. I am taking a little hike, a little walk outside of Kanab, Utah. Yoko and I went to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. She's actually volunteering this morning, helping the animals, while I told her I was going to go ahead and get some stuff done, go out into the outdoors, check some stuff out, do a hike, and then talk to you, my favorite people on this planet. So this goes back quite some time. I'm going to share some things with you that might not even be all that comfortable, because I was living a life that really was not true to me. You see, I went to college. For some reason, I was kind of talked into going to dental school to study dentistry. And I don't know why, other than the fact that I thought it would be a good profession. And all through dental school, and then actually getting into dentistry, starting my life as a dentist, I knew in my heart that it wasn't really what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Don't get me wrong, I've been helping dentists for decades, and dentistry is a fantastic profession. But when I would look at myself in the mirror, I would say, Dave, is this really the life that you want to be living? And I could not honestly answer yes to that question. And I'm wondering, whatever you're doing now, you might not be a dentist, you're probably not a dentist, but there's a good chance you're doing something. And my question to you is, are you doing this something by default? Like it sounded like a good idea at the time, or somebody told you maybe you should try this, or you passed a certain test and you got into a certain school, but you didn't really give it thought. And now you're in a life, and it might not even be your job. It might be a relationship. It might be anything. Are you doing something, and can you look in the mirror and say honestly to yourself, I love what I'm doing every single day? And if the answer to that is no, you really can't do that, stick with me, because I'm going to share, well, I'll do it right now. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Not that I'm wasting time. We're taking a really nice walk, and it's beautiful out here. It's absolutely beautiful. We're in, I think it's called Angel Canyon, outside of Kanab, Utah. So I did the same thing. When I was working as a dentist, I would look at myself in the mirror every single day, and I could not picture myself getting older and older and older and doing the same thing that I just did not have a tremendous passion for the rest of my life. I knew I had to do something different. I didn't know what that different thing was at the time, but I knew I had to do something different, because becoming a dentist by default was not what I wanted to do forever. So I started thinking, I started immersing myself in different cultures. I started immersing myself in business culture, in marketing. I started reading, I started going to conferences. And one day I remember I just printed up a stack of 500 business cards, and the business cards said DMM, those are my initials, DMM Management Consultants. And it gave my phone number and probably my address, my home address. And I did not even know exactly what a management consultant was, but it just sounded right. It sounded good. And I printed up these cards, not having a business, but just having a stack of cards in my closet, and I kept some in my wallet at all times, leading me to the direction of something else. Now, over time, as I immersed myself in different types of business cultures, I was able to start another business at the same time I was practicing as a dentist. And this business, which I started with my brother Richard, who was also a dentist, and probably felt about the same way as I did, just did not want to be doing this thing for the rest of our lives. This business started thriving. But it only started thriving because we put our hearts and souls into the business. We loved it. We breathed it every day. We lived and breathed it every single day. And we loved it. We had a fantastic time doing so. Whoever would have thought that somebody with like zero business experience could have started another business? And that business was speaking, helping dentists in their practices, coaching, consulting, developing products for dentists, writing, becoming a key opinion leader in the profession of dentistry. It's funny, when I put my last video out, when I was on the lake, Echo Lake, one of my viewers wrote as a comment, I believe, I'm not looking at it right here because I'm taking a hike, but it said something like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I want to be a rock star or a rock musician. And I think she said she was a little bit older, not 20 something. And my answer to her, it was, go for it. Now, I'm not saying she'll ever be forgetting about gender, a Paul McCartney or a Mick Jagger or the like, or Elton John or anything like that. But if your heart and soul is in music and you're running an accounting firm, but you know in your heart, you know in your blood, you know in your brain that you want to be doing something in the field of music, well, guess what? There are so many possibilities to work in the field of music. So many. Now, again, you might not be on stage in front of 30,000 people, but there are a million things you can do within music, within the music industry, to fulfill your dream, and to then be able to look in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm doing what I want to do every single day, and I'm happy with myself, and I feel good about it. Back in the early 90s, I started a book of goals. I just dreamed all the time. And whenever I had a dream about something I wanted to do in my life, I wrote it down in this little stupid notebook. I would just write it down. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter what it was. I just wrote it down in this notebook. And I would read my dreams and my goals. I turn my dreams into goals, and they're a little bit different because a dream is a little more vague. A goal is a little bit more defined. We don't have to get into that real deeply here. But just I wrote down what I wanted to do in my life. And I read these dreams and goals every single day. Every day. I will share something with you now. This was one of the most powerful things I ever did in my entire life. Because now I still have that original dream book, that original book of goals. And I look back, and almost every single thing I wrote down in that book has been checked off, that I've accomplished it. And it's funny because one of the things, now this was back in the early 90s, a long time ago by most people's standards. One of the things was, I will buy an RV and travel all across the country. I wrote that down. I read it every single day. What you write and what you read is extremely powerful, and somehow your brain takes over and just figures out a way to make it happen. Now, it did not happen overnight. A lot happened in my life before I was able to purchase my first RV. But guess what? Several years ago, Yoko and I looked at each other. We were living on the East Coast, and we just said, are we truly living the lives that we want to live? Are we truly, can we look in the mirror and say, we're doing everything we want to do? And the answer was no. The answer was absolutely no. What we wanted to do, we wanted to become more minimalistic. We just didn't need all the things that we had. Things don't make you happy. So we said, we're going to sell our house. We're going to buy an RV. We're not going to live in it full time, but it's going to allow us to travel all over the United States, all over North America, wherever we want to go. This is one of the places right here where I'm standing right now, years later. But our RV has given us a life that we can pretty much get in there. It's got everything we want to stay somewhere, to sleep, to cook, to use the bathroom. Especially these days now with what's going on with the pandemic, it's our little home on wheels. No, we're not full time, but when we want it to be our home, it's our home. And we sold almost everything we owned, including our sticks and bricks home in Maryland. We don't own much now at all. We own the essential things. We found that once we moved out, and we chose Salt Lake City, Utah, just because we love the outdoors, and we thought it's a great city. It's so close to the mountains, it's so close to skiing, but it's also a city, and it's close to it's got an international airport. We can go anywhere we want as needed, as opposed to living 2 to 3 hours away from an international airport. We thought Salt Lake would be a great choice for us. And it turned out to be the best decision we've ever made in our lives. No, we don't own a sticks and bricks, we're renting. And I will tell you this real quickly, and I think I've told you this before. Renting a home is fantastic. You know, they talk about one of the ways to build wealth is to buy a home and live in it for many years, and the equity will grow and the value of the home will grow and you'll be very wealthy at some point. Well, I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm calling bullshit. I'm not so sure owning a home is a path to wealth. There are so many hidden expenses, and I've owned many homes in my life, and I cannot say that owning a home has ever made me wealthy. Ever. Ever. I've loved the homes I've lived in, don't get me wrong, and I'm not upset that I own them, but owning a home is not a path to wealth. A path to wealth, and I'm going to share this with you right now. I haven't told many people at all. I'm actually writing a book. I'm writing a book to help the regular person like us, the regular person, take total control of their personal finances and dispel a lot of the myths that are out there, because owning a home is not how to get wealthy. The way to get wealthy, I'll give you a short synopsis, because this video I'm doing today is not about wealth. And by the way, wealth is not always about money. I think wealth is about having incredible health, being healthy, and doing exactly what you want to do in life, and having great personal relationships with family members and friends. I think that's wealth. But you do need money to do things. I don't want to downplay money either, because if you don't have any money, your life probably sucks, and you can't do things, and you're not being able to put food on the table, and not having enough money for retirement, or things that I don't want to be in that position. But the path to wealth is basically spending less money than you make. It sounds simple enough, but it's true. Spending less than you make and investing the difference over time, and not having any debt. And yeah, I've talked to many of you over the years on my RV channel about never buying an RV that you cannot afford. Never buying an RV that you have to take a loan out for. There's no shame to not having enough money, but if you don't have $60,000 to plop down on a brand new RV, or $80,000 or $100,000, there's no shame in that whatsoever. So you know what you do? You go on rvtrader.com or whatever, one of those sites, and you find a used, inexpensive one, and you pay cash for it when you have the cash to do it. I am totally against borrowing money to buy things in life. I'm totally against that. It is not a path to prosperity at all. So what is it that you want to do in your life? What is it? It doesn't matter to me what it is. It doesn't matter. I know that you can do it. Think about it. I want you to do the little mirror test today. As soon as this video is over, I want you to do the mirror test. I want you to look in that mirror and you say to yourself, am I living the life that I want to live exactly the way I want to live it? Am I doing it? And if your answer is no, I recommend you get a little notebook and start writing down your dreams. What would you do if you could not fail? What would you do? What would your life look like? What would your relationships look like? What would you change? I want you to write that all down. I believe in you. I know you can do this. I'm no different than you are. I'm not special. I wasn't born with any special talent at all. I was born a regular person in a regular old family. But I learned not to accept living my life by default. I figured it out. And I don't want to see you do the same thing. I've made all the mistakes in the books. I've made lifestyle mistakes. I've made financial mistakes. And by the way, that's one of the reasons I'm writing this book, because I've made all the mistakes I'm talking about. But I was smart enough, I might not be the smartest person in the world, but I was smart enough to realize that if something's not working, you've got to change it. You've got to change the way you're doing it. If it's not working, don't keep doing the same thing over and over. It's going to continue not working. And you're going to be miserable, or you're going to fail. And by the way, failing is something, there's no shame in ever failing. I've had so many failures in my life, it's not even funny. But I look at failure as kind of like a warm-up, kind of like a test. If you don't make it, you try it another way. I would actually go on record and say, if you haven't failed enough, you're probably not living the life you want to live. You got to fail. You got to fail, and eventually you'll hit something. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. I'll leave it at that. I think this was a very powerful message. I think some of you will watch this video. I don't even know if you'll get to the end. The people that have no interest will not have gotten to this point. But if you've gotten to this point, then I'm resonating with you, and you understand what I'm saying. We only live once. Are you living the life that you want to live? I'm Dr. Dave, the RV dummy. I'll be back with you. Answer me in the comments. Tell me about your life. I'm here listening. See you later.